Your diagnosis is not your destiny. Why living intentionally beats surviving quietly. I recently had the privilege of sitting down with Monika Hilton, a woman whose courage, clarity, and commitment to living intentionally have touched countless lives. Monika is the author of a powerful book called I Decided, which chronicles her journey through triggers, traumas, and triumphs while coping with scleroderma. Through her platform, The Mo Experience, Monica has become a beacon of hope for people facing serious health challenges, reminding them that a diagnosis does not have to become their identity or their ending. She is proof that you can face a debilitating, incurable disease and still choose to live your best life while you are still here. Today, I want to share with you the profound insights Monica offered during our conversation. Insights that challenge everything we think we know about strength, survival, and what it means to live intentionally in a world that demands we stay silent about our struggles. Let me start with a question that might make you uncomfortable, deeply uncomfortable. If your body changed tomorrow in a way you never expected, would you give yourself permission to rebuild your life intentionally instead of retreating into fear? Most of us would say yes, of course we would. But the truth is, when faced with a debilitating diagnosis, most of us do the opposite. We isolate, we shrink, we let the diagnosis become the loudest voice in the room, drowning out everything else we are, everything else we could still become. We disappear into the shadows of what we used to be, and we convince ourselves that this is what strength looks like. But what if I told you that is not strength at all? What if I told you that real strength is choosing to live intentionally every single day, even when your body is betraying you? What if I told you that real courage is deciding that your diagnosis will not write the final chapter of your story? Monica's message is simple but revolutionary. A serious diagnosis does not have to lead the story. With education, self awareness, and support, you can learn how to live in your new normal and still protect your mind, body, and spirit. Scleroderma, the condition Monica lives with, can affect the skin, joints, digestion, lungs, and other organs. There is currently no cure, which makes the emotional impact especially heavy. The weight of knowing that your body is changing in ways you cannot control, that there is no magic pill to make it stop, that you have to wake up every day and face a reality you did not choose. That weight is crushing. But Monica challenges us to see that depression and isolation do not have to lead the story. Understanding the condition can help you move from fear to purpose. And that shift, that movement from fear to purpose, is where transformation begins. Let me tell you about Hina. Hina was just a teenager when she first noticed something was wrong. Started with bluish fingertips, a small thing that most people would brush off. But Hina knew something was different. She spent an entire year in medical uncertainty, going from doctor to doctor, searching for answers that no one seemed to have. And then finally, she received a diagnosis of a rare autoimmune disorder, scleroderma, a word that would change her life forever. Hina faced a long period of unclear answers, followed by finger stiffness, ulcers, breathlessness, and major limits on basic activities like bathing and eating. Think about that for a moment. Activities that most of us take for granted, activities that we do without even thinking, became monumental challenges for Hina. Her independence was slipping away, and she had to rely on support from her mother just to get through the day. But here's what Hina did not do. She did not disappear. She did not let the diagnosis silence her. She adapted to the condition and she used her experience to raise awareness publicly. Hina became an advocate whose story helps others better understand the daily reality of scleroderma. She shared her journey in an international publication, using her voice to educate others about the condition. Her story broadens public understanding of the physical and emotional burden of the disease and shows the importance of visibility and advocacy. Hina's story is not just about scleroderma, it is about what happens when we refuse to let a diagnosis define us. It is about what happens when we choose connection over isolation, when we choose education over fear, when we choose purpose over pain. Now, let me tell you about Lloyd. Lloyd was diagnosed with limited systemic scleroderma in 2013. For Lloyd, the diagnosis came with a new reality he had to learn to navigate. He dealt with tightened skin, severe neuropathy, burning sensations, and hypersensitivity, all of which can interfere with quality of life. Imagine living every day with your skin feeling like it is on fire, with nerve pain that never stops, with a body that does not feel like your own anymore. That was Lloyd's reality, and it still is. But Lloyd did not let that reality define him. His experience is being used in public facing advocacy through a recognized scleroderma organization. His story helps normalize the reality that scleroderma can be physically painful and life altering, while also showing that people continue to live with the disease. Lloyd's story contributes to broader disease awareness and helps audiences understand that scleroderma is more than a skin condition. It can profoundly affect daily functioning, impacting every aspect of life from work to relationships to the simplest daily tasks. Lloyd's story reinforces the theme that scleroderma can change the body and require a new way of living while still leaving room for resilience and purpose. His story is a testament to the fact that you can live with a condition that changes everything and still find meaning, still find community, still find a way forward. You can still show up. You can still contribute. You can still matter. Here is what most people do not understand about scleroderma, and here is where education becomes absolutely critical. The American Academy of Dermatology explains that scleroderma can harden skin, affect joints, and cause permanent loss of movement if not addressed early. The major challenge is that scleroderma has no cure, can cause irreversible changes, and may damage tissue beneath the skin or limit joint motion permanently. This is not a condition you can ignore and hope it goes away. This is not a condition that responds to positive thinking alone. This is a condition that requires knowledge, action, and a willingness to face reality head on. But here's the hope: early treatment, physical therapy, occupational therapy, and medicines that affect the immune system can improve quality of life and help preserve movement. People may reduce hardening, protect joint function, and improve daily life when treatment begins early. This is where education becomes a survival tool. When you understand what is happening in your body, when you know what to look for, when you know what interventions are available, you can make informed choices that protect your future. You can adapt your routines with more confidence. You can take control of what you can control, even when so much feels out of your hands. The guidance reflects the long term reality of people living with scleroderma, where symptoms may affect skin, joints, and internal organs such as the lungs and digestive system. The key milestone is recognizing scleroderma early enough to intervene before movement and tissue changes become permanent. This supports a broader public health message. Knowledge and early action can help people live more intentionally with a chronic autoimmune disease. And that intentionality, that decision to learn, to act, to adapt, that is what separates people who survive from people who thrive. So let me be absolutely clear about what Monika Hilton is teaching us. She is teaching us that you do not have to surrender to isolation. A serious diagnosis can feel overwhelming, but staying connected and seeking support helps protect your emotional health and keeps you from disappearing into fear. She is teaching us that education is a survival tool. Learning how scleroderma affects the skin, fingers, joints, lungs, and digestive system helps people make informed choices and adapt their routines with more confidence. And she is teaching us that your purpose can evolve. Even if a condition changes your career or daily abilities, It does not erase your value, leadership, or impact. It can redirect you into a different kind of strength and testimony. Now, I want to talk about what this means for those of us who are listening, especially those of us who have spent years in survival mode. Those of us who have led teams, raised families, held down households, carried communities, those of us who are exhausted and ready to shift from constantly grinding to finally grounding in joy, peace, and self prioritization. Those of us who have been taught that strength means never breaking, never bending, never asking for help. Monica's story is not just about scleroderma. It is about what happens when we stop letting external circumstances dictate our internal reality. It is about what happens when we stop wearing the cape, when we stop pretending that we have to carry everything alone, when we finally give ourselves permission to be human, to be vulnerable, to be soft. Here is the truth that nobody wants to say out loud: softness is not weakness. Learning to be soft in a world that taught you survival is one of the bravest things you will ever do. And choosing to live intentionally, to protect your peace, to prioritize your well being, that is not selfish. That is sacred. Monika Hilton wrote a book called I Decided because she decided that her diagnosis would not be the end of her story. She decided that she would live intentionally every day. She decided that she would use her experience to help others facing serious health scares to do the same. That decision, that choice to live intentionally, is what transforms survival into something sacred and supportive for others. That is what turns pain into purpose. That is what turns trauma into testimony. Let me ask you this: how many of you are living intentionally right now? How many of you are making choices every day that protect your mind, body, and spirit? How many of you are saying no without guilt, setting boundaries without apology, resting without explanation? If you're like most of the people I talk to, the answer is not many. You are still carrying the weight of everyone else's expectations. You are still showing up for everyone else before you show up for yourself. You are still wearing the cape, even though it is crushing you. Monica's message is that you do not have to live that way. You can choose differently. You can choose to educate yourself about your condition, whatever that condition may be. You can choose to ask for support instead of pretending you have it all together. You can choose one daily habit that helps you stay connected to your purpose rather than your pain. Let me tell you what that looks like in practice. It looks like Hina, who relied on support from her mother and used her experience to raise awareness publicly. It looks like Lloyd, whose story is being used in public facing advocacy to help others understand what scleroderma really is. It looks like every person who has ever faced a diagnosis and decided that they would not let it define them, that they would not let it isolate them, that they would not let it steal their joy. It looks like Monica, who chose to write a book detailing her health challenges over the last 10 years while living with scleroderma, not because she wanted sympathy, but because she wanted people who have gone through a serious health scare to live intentionally every day. Here's what I want you to take away from this. First, you do not have to surrender to isolation. A serious diagnosis can feel overwhelming, but staying connected and seeking support helps protect your emotional health and keeps you from disappearing into fear. Second, education is a survival tool. Learning about your condition helps you make informed choices and adapt your routines with more confidence. Third, your purpose can evolve. Even if a condition changes your career or daily abilities, it does not erase your value, leadership, or impact. It can redirect you into a different kind of strength and testimony. Monika Hilton is living proof that a debilitating diagnosis does not have to become your identity or your ending. She is living proof that with education, self awareness, and support, you can learn how to live in your new normal and still protect your mind, body, and spirit. She is living proof that depression and isolation do not have to lead the story, that understanding the condition can help you move from fear to purpose. She is living proof that you are not defined by what happens to you. You are defined by what you decide to do next. And here is what I want you to decide. I want you to decide that you will learn your diagnosis, that you will ask for support, that you will choose one daily habit that helps you stay connected to your purpose rather than your pain. I want you to decide that if your body changes tomorrow in a way you never expected, you will give yourself permission to rebuild your life intentionally instead of retreating into fear. Because the world needs you, not the version of you that is barely surviving, not the version of you that is hiding behind a mask of strength while crumbling inside. The world needs the version of you that is healing in real time, protecting peace as a practice, and turning purpose beyond pain into something that changes lives. The world needs the version of you that says, I decided that my diagnosis will not write my story. I decided that I will live intentionally every single day. I decided that I will use my experience to help others do the same. So here's my challenge to you: stop surviving quietly, stop letting fear write your future. Stop pretending that you are okay when you are not. Start living intentionally. Start asking for help. Start educating yourself. Start choosing softness over silence. Start choosing purpose over pain. Start choosing you. Your diagnosis is not your destiny. Your decision is: what will you decide today?